Hello guys, welcome back to another tutorial. My name is Dorothy. In today's video, I'll be sharing with you how I cut and sew this beautiful box shirt. If this is something you're interested in, watch this video to the very end so you don't miss out on any detail or explanation. If you are seeing this channel for the first time, you are welcome. On this channel, I post video on pattern drafting and sewing tutorials. So if this is something you would like, subscribe to this channel and welcome to the family. Let's get started with the video. The material that I'll be using for this tutorial is this very light crepe fabric. I have about 1.5 yard. You all know that the length of crepe is by 60, so the 1.5 yard will be enough, but if you're on a bigger size you can do 2 yards. So guys, I've gone ahead to cut out the portion of fabric that I'll be working with, and as you can see, this fabric is folded into two. The measurement that I use in cutting out this piece is my biggest body measurement for shirts, and my biggest body measurement here is my bust. So I added 4 inches to my bust measurement. My bust measurement is 36 plus 4 is 40. Then I divided it by 4. I had 10. Then I added 1 inch for button and buttonholes allowance. While the length that I am working with is 20 inches, then I added 1.5 inches for hemming allowance, making it a total of 21.5 inches. On the center front here, I'm going to mark 1 inch for the button and buttonhole allowance. I'll be marking this 1 inch from top to bottom. Then I will use my ruler to connect this point that I have marked. So this line that we have here is our button and buttonholes allowance. Now the next thing that I'm going to do is to fold in the button allowance, because we'll be drafting the front and the back pieces together. So I will simply fold this up like this, then I will iron it. Now I'm going to place my back pieces beneath the front piece just like this. Guys, note that the length of the back pieces is longer by 3 inches than the front piece, okay? You will get to know why I make the back piece longer than the front piece as we continue in this video. On this right here at the top, I'm going to come down by 1.5 inches, then I'll make a mark there. Then I'm going to use my ruler to connect a slant line like this. After that, you're just going to cut this out. The next thing we're going to do is to bring this front piece down so that it matches with the length of the back piece. Then this allowance at the back piece, this top here, I'm just going to fold it in so that it matches with the edge of the front piece, just the way you see me doing. Just watch what I am doing and please do the same thing and you get the same result, okay? So fold it in like this, then use your iron to iron it so that this fold will stay flat. The next thing we're going to do is to mark the neckline measurement. For the neck width, both for the front and back pieces, I'll be working with 3 inches. Then for the neck depth for the front piece is 3 inches as well. Now I'm going to use my chalk to connect the 2 points together to create a round neckline. To cut off the front neckline, I'm just going to lift up this piece at the back, then I'm going to use my scissors to cut off the front neckline. After cutting off the front neckline, I'm just going to cover up the back piece like this. For the back neckline, the neck width remains 3 inches, while for the back neck depth is 1 inch. So I'm just going to measure this, and this bend at the back here is the exact 1 inch. Now I'm going to use my scissors to cut round the back neckline just like this. After cutting out the neckline, the next thing I'm going to do is to mark half of my shoulder measurements. Half of my shoulder measurement is 7.5, so I mark that here on the shoulder line. On this point that I mark half of my shoulder measurement, I'm just going to come down there by 8 inches for my armhole length measurement. Now to get the armhole length, you simply divide your bust circumference by 6 plus 1.5, and whatever you have, that is your armhole length measurement. Now I'm going to use my ruler to connect this point together on the straight line, and this straight line here is the armhole line, and I will also extend this line horizontally like this, and this horizontal line is going to serve as the chest line. Then on the armhole line, I'll simply measure what I have here, then I'll divide it by 2 and I'll mark the midpoint. So here on the chest line, I'll simply add 4 inches to my bust circumference measurement. Now my bust circumference measurement is 36. 36 plus 4 is 40. 40 divided by 4 is 10. Then I added 1 inch extra for ease. Now I will use my chalk to connect these 2 points together to create the armhole curve. On the length of the shirt, I'm going to mark what I have on the chest line. I'll simply mark the 10 inches, then I added 1 inch to it for ease. Now I'm going to use my chalk to connect the 2 points together, then I'll cut this out. I will simply start cutting from the length, then the side. After that, I went on to cut out on the armhole. Now I will separate the front piece from the back piece. On the front piece, I'm just going to cut on the buttonhole allowance to divide this into two. Now let's go on to sew it. I'll simply arrange my back pieces on the table like this. Then I will place one of my front piece on it, right side facing each other. I will arrange this properly, and I'll also do the same thing to the second piece. I will simply place it on the back piece, right side facing each other. Now I'm going to arrange the shoulder lines very well. I'll take this over to the sewing machine to join the shoulders, and I'll do the same thing to this other side as well. To work on the sleeve, I have the pieces here that I'll be using for the sleeve. I will be working with a short sleeve, so the next thing I'm going to do, I'm going to fold these pieces into two like this, then I'm going to fold it again into four. I'm folding this into four because we'll be cutting the two sleeves together. After folding this into four, make sure you arrange the edges. You wouldn't want to ruin your fabric. As I was arranging this, I discovered some of the edges are not equal, so I'm just going to use my scissors to trim that out. My round armhole divided by 2 is 18, and I'm having half of 18 here, which is 9 inches, then even extra. So this is going to be enough for my sleeve armhole curve. The length of the sleeve that I am working with is 10 inches. Then I added 1 inch for hemming allowance. On this up here, I'm going to come down by 2.5 inches, and I'll make a mark there. Then I'll use my free hand to connect a curved line like this to create the sleeve armhole curve. Now I'm going to measure around the armhole curve like this to make sure that what we have correspond with that of the shirt. And what I have here is the 9 inches that I marked, then I added 1 inch sewing allowance to it. On the length here, I'm going to mark half of my round sleeve measurement. My round sleeve measurement is 12. 12 divided by 2 is 6. So I marked 6, then I added 1 inch to it for ease. Now I'm going to connect this point all the way down to the length of the sleeve. After that, we're just going to cut this out. This is what our sleeve looks like. Now I'm going to keep this aside while we work on the main shirt. This is what I have after I was done joining the shoulder, and I also went on to iron the shoulder seams flat, and I did the same thing to the second side as well. I simply joined the front and the back shoulder line together and I sew. After that, I went on to iron it. Let me arrange this so that you can see the actual shoulder line. So this grease line that you're seeing right here is the actual shoulder line, not the joining. Okay, this is because of the 1.5 inches that I added at the back shoulder. When you are drafting a shirt, the back shoulder is usually longer than that of the front. To work on the shirt buttonhole allowance, I'm just going to arrange the neckline like this. I have these pieces that I have cut out. I'll be using it as the button and buttonhole interfacing, and just as you can see, I have iron paper gum on it. Now I'm going to place the shirt buttonhole allowance side on top of this piece like this. I'll arrange it properly, then I'll use my scissors to cut around the neckline. I'm simply cutting out the front neckline on this piece. After I'm done cutting out the neckline on the piece, I'm going to remove this, then I'll reduce the length. The width of this piece, at this side I want it to be 3 inches, then on the upper side I mark 4 inches. Now I'm going to connect the point together, then I'll go ahead and cut this out. I'm going to place this piece on this second piece here, and I'll cut the same thing out. This is what I have after I was done cutting the second piece out. So now I'm going to place this piece on the front shirt like this, right side facing each other, and I'm going to head over to the sewing machine and I'm going to join this all the way down. After that, I'll turn this stitch like this and I'll make a top stitch on this interface, and I'll do the same thing to the second side of the shirt. I'll simply place this interfacing on it and I'll run a straight stitch all the way down. After that, I'm going to make a top stitch on it. This is what I have after I was done running the stitch and also making a top stitch on the interfacing. The next thing that I'm going to be doing is to fix the sleeve. So I'll simply fold my sleeve like this into two and I'll notch the midpoint. I will spread my shirt on the table like this. So this midpoint on the shirt, I'm going to place the notch point of the sleeve on that point. You know, the midpoint is not where the joining is on the shirt. It is this crease line you're seeing right here. So I'll place the notch point on the sleeve to the midpoint of the shirt, and I'm going to use my pen to pin this. Now I'll go ahead and arrange the sleeve around the shirt armhole just the way you see me doing, and I'll be using my office pin to pin it down. Then I'll head over to the sewing machine and I'm going to stitch this. I'll do the same thing to the second sleeve as well. After that, I'm going to fold up the sleeve length like this and I will hem it. This is what I have after I was done sewing the sleeve armhole to the shirt, and I also went on to hem the length of the shirt. Now the next I'm going to do, I'm going to join the side of the sleeve like this, and also I will join the side of the shirt. Now I'm going to head over to the sewing machine and I'm going to sew this side by the 1-inch sewing allowance that I left, and I will do the same thing to the second side of the shirt. I'll simply arrange both sides of the sleeve together all the way to the shirt length. Then I'll head over to the sewing machine and I'll stitch this down by 1-inch sewing allowance. Let me go and sew this and bring it so that I see what we have. This is what I have after I was done sewing the both side, and I also decided to weave the edges of the shirt. After I was done weaving, I went on to hem the length of the shirt. To work on the collar, the first thing that I'm going to do is to fold the neckline just the way you see me doing. So arrange the neckline properly, make sure that the both shoulders are together. And when that is done, I'm going to use my tape rule to measure from the actual front neckline, not from the interfacing or from the actual neckline. I'm going to come in by 2 inches, then I'll make a notch there. On this point that I notched on the neckline, I'm going to use my measuring tape to measure from this end to this end to see what we have. And when I measure from this end to this end, what I have here is 14 inches. So the length of the collar that we'll be working with will be 14 inches. I have this piece of fabric that I'll be using for the collar. The width of this piece is 7 inches. So I'm just going to fold it into 2 like this. Then I'll fold it again just like this. Now I'm going to divide the neckline measurement into 2. That is 14 divided by 2 is 7. So I use my tape rule to divide it. Then I'll measure the 7 here on this piece. And I added 1 inch for sewing allowance. I'm going to use my chalk to connect these points straight down like this. For the width of the collar, I'll be working with 3 inches. So on the center back here, I'm going to come up by 3 inches. While on the side here, I'm going to minus half an inch from the 3 inches. That is 2.5. I marked that. Now I'm going to use my free hand to connect this point that I have marked. Then I went on to cut this out. This is what I have after I was done cutting this piece out. So the next thing I'm going to do is to iron paper gum on the surface. This is what I have after I was done ironing paper gum on the surface. So the next thing I'm going to do, I'm going to take this over to the sewing machine and I'll sew the both side. This is what I have after I was done sewing the both side. So the next thing I'm going to do, I'm going to turn this over to the right side. After turning this over to the right side, I'm going to take this over to the ironing table and I will iron this. After ironing the collar, the next thing I'm going to do is to fix this collar on the neckline. So I'll simply fold my neckline into 2 and I will notch the midpoint. Also on the collar, I'm going to fold it into 2 like this and I will notch the midpoint. Now I'm going to place the notch point on the collar on this notch point of the neckline. Now I'm going to use my pin to pin this together. So go ahead and do the same thing. Simply pin your collar on the shirt neckline all the way around to the front neckline, just as I am doing. When I get to this front neckline, this interfacing that is out here, I'm just going to fold it in like this and I will pin it as well. After I am done pinning from the mid neckline to this other side, I'm going to do the same thing to this side as well. I'm going to arrange the collar around the neckline, then I'll pin. When I get to the edge, I'm just going to fold in the interfacing like this. I'll arrange it properly, then I'll pin it as well. Now I'm going to head over to the sewing machine and I'm going to sew this. And when I am done sewing the collar to the neckline, I'm going to arrange the rough edges in like this. This edge of the collar that I've folded in by 1/2 inch. I'm going to use it to cover up the rough edges, then I'll make a top stitch on it. So guys, this is what I have after I was done sewing the collar to the neckline. Now I'm going to use my scissors to trim off excess fabric on the edge, then I'll go ahead to turn this over to the right side. You can use a sharp object to push the edges outside. Now that the edges are fully out, I'm just going to arrange the remaining part of the collar, that is this rough edges. I'm just going to arrange it in, and for where it's not well relaxed, I'm just going to notch the end point like this, and I'll do the same thing to this other side. I'll notch the end points. So now I'm going to arrange the rough edges in properly, then I'll use the fold on the collar to cover this up, and I'm going to head over to the sewing machine to make a top stitch. So guys, this is what I have after I was done making the top stitch. You can see how neat this look. So the next thing we are going to do is to iron this shirt properly, and the last thing we'll be working on, we're going to be working on the button and the buttonhole allowance. So I'm going to take this over to the market to create the buttonholes. So guys, this is what I have after I was done creating the buttonholes, and I've already gone ahead to fix my button. You can see how beautiful and how neat this box shirt comes out looking like. So we are basically done with this tutorial. Thank you so much for watching. If this video was helpful, give this video a thumbs up, and if you have any question concerning this tutorial, leave your question in the comment section and I will attend to it. And also, if you haven't subscribed to this channel yet, please do well to subscribe and turn on the post notification so you get notified when I drop new video. Share this video to those who love to make their own dresses. Thank you for watching. See you all in my next one.